morning, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Thank you for joining us during our weekly hybrid MLS breakfast meetings. My name is Jennifer Tan, and I'm your program chair for this week. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, leading by Nancy Chen. Thank you, Nancy. We'll now have our inspirational quote. Please welcome Lena Sankari.
Hey, good morning. This is Lena Sankari from US Bank. So we have light day, so the room is empty. Let's do a little bit of the stretch. Just with your hands over. Stand up. Everyone stands up. Just some stretch. Okay, so stretch as high as you can do, and then stretch your left, and back to the right. Great, thank you.
We should do that every week.
So, if you want to be happy, do not dwell in the past. Do not worry about the future. Focus on living fully in the present. Life is too short. Be happy. Happy Thursday.
Thank you, Lena. That's really nice. I'm Jennifer Tan from Coed Banker New Century in San Gabriel. I studied economics in China and accounting in PCC. I have various experience as a sales, accounting staff, and a real estate construction coordinator. In 2005, I became a licensed real estate agent. I have been a member of San Gabriel Valley for over 10 years and currently an active member in MLS committee. As a real estate professional, I'm mostly active on investment in residential and apartment buildings, both in California and Nevada. I focus on buying, selling, and managing apartment buildings in Las Vegas right now. In my spare time, I like to travel. I've been a number of countries and still there's a long list on my table. I also like cooking. Food is my passion. I have 2 fur babies whom I just can't stop smiling whenever I lay my eyes on them. Thanks. I'm also active in church on Sunday. Okay. Now, if you're a member and would like to make an announcement, please fill out announcement form located on my left. Remember, complete forms to balance. Thank you. A few housekeeping tips. All participants on Zoom will be muted upon entry to the MLS breakfast meeting. And should you have a question or a comment, please remember to enter it into the chat box. Please remember to join us weekly as we'll have our hybrid MLS breakfast meeting every Thursday at 9 a.m. As always, this meeting is being recorded and will be available online on our YouTube channel, West San Gabriel Valley Realtors. Please remember to follow WSGVR social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also watch all our pre-recorded videos on YouTube. Join our text message group for updates. Text WSGVR to the number 888-301-2201. Today's agenda consists of our affiliate spotlight, Juliet Kailua from Sunrun Solar. Julia. And our guest speaker, Officer Robin Lopez, American Survival Strategies. So remember that to be eligible to today's drawings, you must be a West San Gabriel Valley Realtor member and be in person at the association. We'll be having an attendance drawing, Amazon gift card drawing, and a 50-50 raffle. Today, our affiliate spotlight will be brought to you by Affiliate Committee Chair Lena Sankari of US Bank and the Vice Chair Teresa Nguyen of Loan Direct.
Hi, everyone. So good to be here with you guys. So my name is Juliet Kailua. I'm with Sunrun. So we are the largest residential solar company in the US. We've been helping people for 16 years. So today I'm going to talk about problems with the electricity supply, solutions, state mandates, and how each one of you matters, how you can be part of the solutions, help your friends save money, and also make money on our referral program. So how many of you have Edison? Okay, quite a few of you. So Edison went up 13 to 18%. You should have gotten this notice in the mail in the beginning of the year. It's going up 22.6%. So electricity is getting more expensive, especially with the EVs demand on the grid. So the solution is solar. There's a next slide. Also, Edison's thinking about doing this where they're going to add on if you make a certain amount of money, like 70K, they're going to add on $51 on top of all the additional charges, but that hasn't been approved yet. So next slide, but that's what they're talking about. So in the rates, you can see it's gone up, especially in the summertime, up to 72 cents. 5 years ago, it was like less than 15 cents. Next slide. California has the Senate Bill 100, which mandates all new homes being built has to be solarized. And then all existing homes, they are part of the federal subsidies to help pay for it. Next slide. So stay on this one for a moment. So Sunrun will pay for the whole system if your house qualifies. It's not based on income, it's based on how much electricity you use. So if you have friends or family or your house, we will pay for the panels, the permits, the installations, maintenance, insurance, so you don't have to worry about it. If there's a hailstorm in California, it's happened before, we will send our crew out to fix it. You don't have to. You don't own the system. You just get to use the electricity at a much, much lower rate. After like 5 to 10 years, it's more than 50% savings compared to what you're paying with Edison. So what's really cool is with the battery system, GP&E, which is Northern California's electric company, they are offering $750 buyback to Sunrun's customers with battery. So they just take a few hours of your electricity during peak hour for 3 months in the summertime, you get $750. Edison has not announced that kind of program at this time, but it's interesting to see when they would do something like that because it makes more sense for Edison to buy from locally our batteries, customers with battery than shipping it from out of state. Next back. Okay, this LA wants to do it in the year 35. Next slide. Electrification. If you have more electricity, you can actually switch out the gas appliances and not have gas bill anymore. Next one. This is what our warranties and guarantees are. Next slide. It's basically 25 years. Okay, so how you guys get involved. Anyone you refer, once they qualify, once she's telling me it's time to go, just text me, email me, and I will answer any questions. Also with incentives, the first 5 people that send me their electric bill, I'll give you $20 for a Sunrun gift card. Thank you.
Thank you, Juliet. Please remember to support our affiliates with your transactions. We now have our affiliates introduction for today. Our paid affiliates present today, please end up at the front. Please no promotions or announcements. This is a morning greeting only. We'll begin with affiliates in person. Please walk off towards the door after your greeting.
Good morning, San Gabriel Valley Board. Pretty cool on the solar. I'll check with you later. Anyways, California Gold Coast home and commercial inspections. Have a great day.
Morning. This is Mario Manzanilla, the king of reverse mortgages, Kubotan certified instructor. Be here Tuesday.
Everyone, this is Esther with HSBC Bank. I also represent our Untitled Chapter. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Eduardo Higuchi with New York Life.
Good morning, everyone. This is Ken Shen with Transglobal Private Lending. Have a great day.
Good morning, Sam Yu with Primerica. Remember, this month is still Life Insurance Awareness Month.
Morning, Judy Chow, AA Capital Senior Loan Officer. Good morning, Alina Chu from Glen Oaks Escrow. Have a wonderful day.
Good morning, Nancy Chan, Lawyers Title. Have a great day.
Good morning, Bob Chu with Champion Escrow.
Good morning, this is Feng Shui Master Alex. Have a nice day.
Good morning, everyone. Chris Hahn, Guild Mortgage. Have an awesome day.
Good morning, everyone. Matthew from Intervalley Escrow.
Good morning, everyone. Brandon Savransky with First American NHD. Have a great day.
Good morning, Lena Sankari from US Bank Home Mortgage.
Everyone, Alba Moy from Moy Escrow in Alhambra. Have a great day.
Good morning, David Tran with Home Guard Home Warranty. invest in your future today by buying a ticket.
Thank you. Next, we will call on Phyllis who are joining us virtually. One here. Oh, okay. First is John Wax from Snap NHD. John.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning, everyone. John Wax with Snap NHD Natural Hazard Disclosure Reports. Enjoy the cool weather. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, John. Next is Mark Wu from Labo Insurance. Mark.
Good morning, everybody. Mark here to assist your buyers with a preferred standard homeowner policy in this challenging insurance market.
Thank you. Next is Serge Gomez from My NHD.
Good morning, everyone. Sage Gomez with My NHD. Have a great day.
Thank you. Next is Angie Tan from First American Title Company. We're happy to include open pitching to our hybrid MLS breakfast meeting. If you like to pitch your listing, you must go to www.wsgvr.org, click on Caravan request form, fill it out and submit no later than Tuesday midnight of the week you want to pitch. We have no listing on Caravan. If you didn't register for Caravan but have an active listing in MLS that you like to pitch, please come up now to pitch your listing. Now discuss commissions. You have 30 seconds.
Finally, they found me. Good morning. My name is Vince Venetiano. Once in a while, I work in real estate. Okay, I have this 3702 Platt Avenue in Linwood. It's a registered a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, but actually it's a 3-bedroom, 1 3/4 bath. I checked with the city, everything is permitted. The square foot meet everything on a large 79 square feet lot. I have a built building in the backyard, which it's a nice built, but looks like you have no permit. But it's a nice property for the price. Sold before on the one day on the market, sold. Appraised at 700,000, and all of a sudden the buyer changes his mind, and it's back on the market. And it will be open house this weekend.
Thank you. To help me welcome Buck Stapleton, who will be introducing our guest speaker.
Thank you. It's a pleasure as a former police officer for me to introduce Corporal Robin Lopez. I knew her father when he was a lieutenant on the LAPD, but she was only about this high. So anyway, Officer Lopez is a corporal with the Monterey Park Police Department and has been with the department for 30 years. Her assignments include uniform patrol, field training officer, where she's responsible for the training of new officers that join Monterey Park, SWAT team tactical operator, detective with the Investigator Bureau, and then a member of the Department Honor Guard. Over the course of her career, she has over 2,000 hours of tactical and active shooter training and 4,000 hours of officer training. She also is the owner of American Survival Strategies, which specializes in training civilians on active shooter situations. And of course, due to the recent shooting in Monterey Park, she's got a little bit more experience than she actually hoped for. All right, let's welcome Corporal Robin Lopez.
Morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I really am happy to be here to speak to all of you, and a big thank you to Buck and Victoria for inviting me. They have become some very good friends of mine, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. So I'm just going to speak with you briefly. I know we're on a clock here. We're going to talk a little bit about some safety tips for realtors. A lot of it is going to be kind of common sense, but as we talk about when we do neighborhood watch meetings and the different training that I do and whatnot, these are things that are just common sense stuff that we don't think about every day because we get busy with our daily lives and everything that's going on. So just a few reminders. The most important thing that I can tell you is when you guys are going out doing showings and showing listings, and especially gals, but also for the men. You've got to make sure you tell people where you're going, sort of similar to what you tell your children when they're going out on a date, right? Make sure that somebody knows where you're going to be. Tell someone in your office, tell a family member, a partner, but I would think in your business, probably most importantly, someone that you work with, and make sure you give them the date and the time and the location where you are going to be. Oftentimes when something does happen, if there's some kind of a crime, if you guys watch Dateline, you know that in our investigations, that's the first place we start. We have to work backwards and then go back forward. So we want to know, where were you? And if nobody knows where you are, then we don't know where to start. Another good thing to do is remember to put that information somewhere where somebody else can find it. Put it in your day planner at work, on your desk calendar. If you guys have Outlook or an office calendar where everybody knows where everyone's going to be, somewhere else other than just telling someone. And again, the reason is because if something happens, you don't turn up where you're supposed to be a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours late. And then someone says, hey, we haven't heard from Buck in a while. We know he went and showed a property. It's been like 3 or 4 hours and he's late for a meeting. Where's he been? If you don't know, or if the person that he happened to tell isn't available, then again, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come to your office and we're going to try to backtrack and see if you put it anywhere that we can find. We need somewhere to start. Once you get out and you're at these locations and you're meeting with folks, make sure that you keep your cell phone handy at all times. And that seems kind of like a no-brainer because pretty much everybody has it glued to their face at this point, or at least always in their hand, unfortunately. But in these instances, I would say make sure that you have your phone available and handy in case you need it. I would keep it in your hand. And if you are going to do some other type of meetings, particularly with people that you aren't familiar with, someone that you don't know, then I would recommend setting those meetings in a public place, which is pretty common these days. Everybody meets in a Starbucks or in a restaurant or whatnot. But again, if it's someone that you're not familiar with, you don't know their background, you don't know anything about them, then always a good idea to do that in public. So be situationally aware. And this is something that I also talk about in my other classes. You need to pay attention, be aware of what's going on around you. Again, we are so busy in our daily lives, and many people are walking around with their noses in their phone that they're not paying attention to what's happening or what or who is around them. So again, for you folks that are going into residences that are typically unoccupied, maybe it's areas that you're not super familiar with other than that one home that you're showing. Know your surroundings, know your areas, pay attention to the people that are around you and what they're doing. It's something you have to do really consciously. I have to do it as an officer every day. It's very easy to get lulled into sort of a sense of security, driving around in your car. You're not really paying attention to who's around you, or maybe somebody might be following you. So you've got to know what's going on and familiarize yourself with your surroundings. If something were to happen, where can you go to get away from whatever it is that's happening? And then really important, know the location of the closest police station. I bet you guys don't look that up before you go and show a house, right? But it's something that's really important because again, you're meeting with people that sometimes you don't know. Maybe it's not your client. I don't know a whole lot about the real estate game, but I know that oftentimes you're meeting with someone else's client. I know you get cold calls. People want to come and look at a property. You don't know anything about them. So know where the local police department is in relation to where you're going, so that if something does happen, or you happen to have some sort of a disagreement with this person and now they're following you, or you have a sense that someone's following you or that they have somebody else with them. Just like we tell our kids all the time, we tell people neighborhood watch, if you feel like something's happening, the safest place for you to go is straight to the police department or the fire department if it's closer, but I would say the police department. Another thing that I suggest, and this is something I talk about a lot when I'm talking about safety and not being the victim of a crime, is have a help or a panic code. If you've got that phone handy and you're getting a weird vibe from this person that you're showing a house to, again, someone that you're not super familiar with, but either in their words, in their actions, or they're just making the hair on the back of your neck stand up, you think something's going on, or something is starting to evolve. If you get a phone call, or if you're able to excuse yourself and make a phone call, but you don't want to tip this person off to the fact that you're hip to them, you know something's happening, have a code word. And so for those of you that work in an office, this is a good conversation for you all to have together So that, again, you're talking about, you're reminding everyone, let us know where you're going. And if something happens, how do we know that you're in distress? So it's really like a distress call. So if everybody in your office knows that they're trying to reach you, they call you and you answer the phone and you are trying to act as normal as you can, but you work that word into it, they are going to know that they need to call the police department. They need to get help to you. Okay. So think about that. Another thing that I talk about with regards to safety, and I think is probably important for you, again, particularly for ladies, is if you can, consider carrying something that you can use for self-defense. There are versions of pepper spray. They're a little bit, they're not quite as strong as the version that we carry on duty, but there are versions that are available and for sale to the public. Pepper spray is a great deterrent. It gives you a moment, a minute, an opportunity to get away from folks if something is happening, if you are under some sort of an attack or something like that. There are other things that you can do. You know, if you Google stuff for personal safety, you're going to find a million things. But one of the things I did mention is a Kuvaton, which I understand Mario is the instructor on these, and you guys are going to be talking about these on Tuesday. So we'll hear about this, but this is a great self-defense tool, but you do need to have some training. And then the simplest and most inexpensive, your keys. And, you know, again, when I'm doing a class on how to avoid being the victim of a crime, one of the main things I'm talking to you about, especially ladies, is when you're walking to and from your car in a parking lot in an area that's not well lit, this is the best and cheapest thing you can use for self-defense. At least it gives you a moment, an opportunity to try to fight back a little bit, to create some distance, maybe cause a little pain so that you can get away and call for help, or, you know, somebody that's in the area sees something that's going on. So consider, you know, something that you can keep with you. Self-defense classes are great if you're interested in something like that. But again, you can Google, you can find all kinds of items. And then I would say one of the most important things, one of the most important tools that you have is just your life experience and your instincts. Trust your instincts. If something doesn't seem right, then it probably isn't. And the best example I can give you is in law enforcement, we're always telling you, call 911. If you see something and it doesn't seem right, call us, right? And the most common thing that I hear from folks is, well, we didn't want to bother you. Or what if it's not anything? And then, you know, that you talk to that person and they get embarrassed or they get angry. Are they going to know that I'm the person that called? And I will tell you guys the same thing that I tell everybody else. First of all, in law enforcement, that's our job. Our job is to respond. If you see something and it looks hinky, it probably is, call us and we're going to go check it out. If it turns out that it's nothing, then we're going to dust that person off. We're going to explain to them why it is that we're there. We're never going to tell them who it is that called, but we will explain to them why we're there and handle the situation. But if you don't speak up, if you don't listen to the voice in the back of your head or feel that hair that's on the back of your neck, then if something does happen, you're going to be thinking about that later. So trust your instincts, trust your life experience, trust your professional experience. I'm sure you probably all have some horror stories, things that have happened in the industry with people that you were dealing with or homes that you were showing. So just listen to yourself. And if it seems like it's not right, get out of it. Again, neighborhood watch, we tell you if somebody tries to take your purse, let them take your purse, right? Everything that's in that purse, including your purse, can be replaced. Doesn't matter how expensive it is. Something happens to you, you cannot be replaced. So if you feel uncomfortable, get out of the situation. You can always find another client. You can always find another listing. You can always find another opportunity. Okay, so that's pretty much the information that I wanted to touch on, since we have some the time limit this morning with regards to realtor safety. But I understand that you guys wanted to hear a little bit about the active shooter. So I'll talk about this just briefly. So as you can see up on the screen, the FBI has a definition of an active shooter as being an individual that's actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in a populated area. One thing I want to do emphasize, and when I speak about this through my business, don't key in just on the word shooter. When these things first started happening, and do continue to happen, obviously, almost on a monthly basis, sometimes on a weekly basis, it typically is a shooter, but it isn't always. Sometimes it's a different type of a weapon. So if any of you remember the incident that happened at the Burlington Coat Factory, I want to say that was about 2 or 3 years ago now. You saw good video footage from the Burlington Coat Factory from their surveillance that showed the suspect running around carrying a big, huge chain. It was a very huge, thick chain with a big, ginormous lock at the end of it. You swing that around, you can kill somebody with that. That can hurt you or kill you just as easily as a gunshot. So don't lock into the fact that it's always going to be a gun. We've had them where it's been that type of a weapon. We've had them with knives. We've had them with swords. Pretty much any weapon that you can think of. But that's basically what it involves. Is someone who picks a target and finds a place where there's going to be a lot of people. Typically, it's a soft target. They can get in fairly easily, and do what they've come there to do. Remember that for the most part, victims are selected at random. It's usually a crime of opportunity as far as the victims. Sometimes it's a specific person or persons. If it's like, for example, workplace violence, someone that's been fired from a job, or feels that they've been slighted in some way. So they may start out with 1 or 2 or 3 people that they are specifically targeting, but then generally they just move on and it's just random attacks. It's really, really impossible to predict these events because there are immeasurable number of locations that these can happen at, and the sky's the limit for who can be a victim, who might be a target. As many people as there are on the planet, unfortunately, because we got a lot of crazy people, a lot of people that are angry, a lot of people think they've been treated wrongly, and so pretty much that's all it takes. So it's hard to know where it's going to be. Really, the thing that you can do to keep yourself safe, again, is have situational awareness, pay attention to what's going on around you, and then just realize that this can happen anywhere. So don't feel that because we're in this room that you're safe. You guys could have really ticked off some client and somebody could come flying through the door at any moment, or in a restaurant, or in a dance studio, as we had in Monterey Park. So it's no rhyme or reason except for the person that's carrying it out. So remember that. And then if you take the time to have some additional training and think about some of these things that we talk about, then you're going to be able to have a better opportunity to save yourself and to save your loved ones, save the people that are around you. This is a subject that you have to get some training on, and you need to talk about with your friends and family. If it happens and you have not given it any thought whatsoever, I guarantee you're not going to know what to do. There might be one person in this room that has an idea of how they should react and what they can do to keep themselves safe or keep the person sitting next to them safe. And the most important thing is you want to get home safely, right? You all have families and loved ones and people that you care about, so you want to get home to them in one piece. So if you pay attention to what's going on around you, spend a little bit of time thinking about what you would do if something like this happens, maybe get a little bit of extra training, it's really going to increase your chances exponentially of surviving, okay? Something that we do in law enforcement, and Buck knows this, is one of the first things you learn in the academy is when we're driving around doing our job, like 99.9% of it is snooze city. Okay, everything you see on TV and in the movies, which is really cool and wazoo, and that's what we're all hoping for throughout the day. Not that we want anyone to be victimized, but we're waiting for the exciting stuff to come. That's why we became cops, because we're kind of type A, right? But the rest of the day is usually pretty calm and quiet. We're patrolling, we're looking for things, we're looking for, we're trying to prevent crime, we're taking reports. And so one of the first things you learn in the academy is make good use of that time and do scenarios in your head. Pull up to a 7-Eleven and think, what would I do if I was just leisurely getting out of my car right now to stop and get a cup? And all of a sudden I can tell through the glass that the store clerk is in duress or is in panic or literally has somebody standing next to him with a weapon. Or what would I do if I'm driving down the street and patrolling a residential area and I see a couple of guys come running out of the backyard carrying, their loot. So if you start to think about these things, I really stress heavily, you play the way you practice. And do you have any athletes in here? Anybody that played sports? You play the way you practice. So if you don't think about this stuff, you're not going to be prepared. So again, what's most important is that you prepare yourself both mentally and physically. You can't assume that this is never going to happen where you are. I guarantee you none of those lovely people that were dancing and taking dance lessons in the dance hall in Monterey Park had any idea that something this would ever happen. No police department thinks that's really going to happen where they work. You train for it all the time. So no one is in a position that they think this is going to happen. So if you don't prepare yourself mentally and physically, then again, you're not going to know what to do when something like this jumps off. And again, it just takes a few moments of a little bit of thought. You're in the movie theater. Everybody knows what happened at Aurora, Colorado, right? So even though we get tired of hearing the seeing the thing on the screen where the closest exits are and whatnot. Pay attention to that kind of stuff. Pay attention to where the exits are when you are in a restaurant. Pay attention to the people that are around you. Just give some thought to what it is you're going to do. Again, you play the way you practice. Do you want to do questions now, or we have some time for some questions?
You know what? On your Google phone, you have an ability to share your location. So this is really great if you have someone like your friends or somebody, you can just share your location. So wherever your phone is, they know they can see where you are, and then you can stop that sharing at any time. So that's also a good way.
That's a great tool.
As you were talking, thank you so much for doing this for all of us.
Of course, thank you. Thank you
I
for
was
having me.
thinking, like, if you're in a room and you're not feeling comfortable, you could say, you know what? Give me a moment. I'm going to grab something in my car for you. I'll be right back. Run to your car and then do whatever you need. Or you can just say, once you're outside, you can say, I'm going to have to reschedule for whatever. I'm not feeling well, whatever. And then you can come back and bring another person, because sometimes we might be uncomfortable in thinking someone's a bad person, and we just might need another person, like have Buck there. I think he charges $500 an hour to be there by your side.
I'll charge you less, so call me. No, that's a really great point. And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about listen to your instincts, listen to that voice in the back of your head, and rely on your expertise and your experience. I think I could probably talk to every one of you individually and you would have some sort of a story, but somebody that, you know, made you feel uncomfortable. So do exactly what you said. Try to extricate yourself from the situation, and you're going to try to do it politely, because again, you don't, you know, maybe you're wrong, but you can always reschedule. You can always do a little bit more background on this person and get a little bit more information. And there is always going to be another sale. There's always going to be another client. Hi, Mario.
Sir, thank you. Thank you so much for being here and pointing this very important information. I do have a question just out of curiosity. Have you noticed over the last few years, say since the COVID or whatever, you know, there has been a little bit more aggressiveness within the people, like when you're driving around, or even the situations that are happening within the city, or is this just the normal things that we have been experiencing? Just an observation.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. As Buck mentioned, I've been doing my job now for 30 years. I will be finished in about 10 days. But yeah, there has been unbelievable changes since when I first started this job. I remember when I was younger and my dad would talk about, you know, he didn't talk a lot about what he did with LAPD, but he would talk a little bit. And he would say, you know, I can't believe how different it is now than it was when I was on the job and whatnot. And now I hear myself saying that. I hear myself turning into my father, like, oh my God, I bet my dad didn't have to deal with nonsense like this. But it unfortunately, and it's not, you know, it's not limited to just our little area. It's a nationwide problem. People have just become rude. They've become angry. They've become very me. And then you have the issues that we're dealing with, the homeless, the transients, the druggies that are roaming the streets. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, the anger thing, because I did want to mention to you guys, I know you're typically showing residences, maybe sometimes some commercial properties, but it doesn't really matter, 6 to 1, half a dozen the other. Oftentimes, these folks that are roaming our streets that are looking like zombies, they will pop into places just because they see an open door. So that's something to be really aware of as well. And if something like that happens and you need to call 911, let us come deal with that person, because these people are often either mentally ill and or on drugs. But yes, to answer your question, Mario, it's gotten worse and worse. And unfortunately, for many, many reasons, people have less respect for law enforcement. So we do take a lot more, you know, anything that we used to. And then, you know, people just treat one another like that out on the streets as well. So it's definitely gotten worse. I'm hoping that maybe the pendulum's going to swing back the other direction. You know, we'll see.
Robin, we do have a question in the chat box.
Okay.
On Zoom, I'm sorry. Question is, do you recommend realtors get training with firearms and have a CCW?
Okay. Well, coming from someone who, you know, wants you to defend yourself, I would say, yes, I do recommend it. However, I have to emphasize that it's really a personal choice. If you feel like you're someone that can handle carrying a weapon, you know, there's a lot of people that aren't comfortable with it. There's a lot of people that, you know, they just don't want to take that step. They don't want to go that far. But if you feel comfortable with that, then I would say absolutely. I mean, every line of protection and defense that you can add to yourself, I mean, I can tell you Monterey Park, we have a really fast response time. We're usually there under 3 minutes, usually less, probably a minute to 2 because the city is so small. But if you guys are working in areas that are larger, like an LAPD area or an LASD jurisdiction, your response time is probably going to be much slower. And so if you can do something to protect yourself, absolutely, I would recommend it if you're comfortable with it. And now it's much easier to get a CCW in the state of California because they've changed the requirements. It used to be very difficult. So.
What is a CCW?
Oh, that's a carry conceal weapon license. So you have to go through specific training, go through a background before you can purchase the weapon. And you have to take, lessons. You have to be trained on how to handle the weapon, and then you can apply for a CCW. Generally, you do it in the jurisdiction, the county or the city where you live. Any questions?
Okay, Robin, well.
Oh, I think
thank
there's
you,
one. I think
and-
there's one behind you, Buck. Probably the last one. I see we're getting close.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I learned a lot. I just noticed in the news lately, there's something called the distraction robbery. Somebody tried to tell you that your car was being bumped by a shopping cart, and then the other person, sneak up and then steal your purse. So can you talk a little bit about how common are these news? I mean, are these type of robbery going on right now? Because I do work on the street all the time. Sometimes I sit in the car working, and then somebody knock on my door. And he said, do you have a 20? I mean, he didn't even go for change. He said, do you have a $20?
Inflation.
So, yeah, I appreciate you.
We have inflation. Yes, that's that is actually very, very common. And I hate to say this, but we've been taking these reports since the day I started my job. Distraction robberies are extremely common. People would maybe pull up next to you or stop by and say, hey, you've got a flat tire, to get you to pull over. And then while one of them was showing you where the tire was, or maybe even offering to help you, get your equipment out to change the tire, somebody else would come along and grab your property. We get that a lot of times when you've been to the bank. That's very, very common. People, some of these banks and watch to see who are doing withdrawals, particularly large withdrawals, obviously. And then they'll watch you go to your car, and then they'll follow you away from the bank, and they will do just that. So yeah, when somebody comes up to you and tries to tell you you've got a flat tire, or, hey, you're at the gas station, can I have $20, or whatever. Again, situational awareness, paying attention to where you are, paying attention to who's around you, remembering where you've come from. Those are the things that are going to help keep you safe. So it is very common. And most of the time, and we used to be a different kind of society. We want to be a society where neighbors help neighbors. And if someone asks you for a hand, you try to give them a hand. But in today's age, you can't always do that because it's just not safe. So my advice to you is say, thanks, I got it. Lock yourself in your car and call for help, or call someone who's going to come help you. Don't engage with that person, because they really are just trying to distract you. Yeah. Yeah. Don't engage with them. Any other questions?
Corporal
All right.
Lopez, Robin, thank you. And will you be staying around for
Yeah.
a few minutes for questions?
Yes, if anybody has
Okay.
any questions for me, wants to find out any information about some additional training, I'll be around. Thank you guys again for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you, Buck.
On behalf of the Western Gabriel Valley Realtors, thank you, Officer Lopez, for very informative presentation.
This is Thank you. I don't think it's the
Thank
phone. She
you.
doesn't trust Buck. Thank you. I think it's the operator, right?
Attendance drawing. Our Western Gabriel Valley members are included in the attendance drawing, but not all can be displayed. Today, our pot is at 700. If we don't get a winner, $25 gets added to the pot each week until someone wins. Pot will begin again at $25 when someone wins. If for our last breakfast meeting of the year, we still don't have a winner, we will draw a lucky winner at that time. You must be in person at the association and the Western Gabriel Valley Realtor member to win. When your name is called, you must announce that you are present. If we call your name 3 times and you don't respond, we will move on. No exceptions. First is carrying through. Is Amazon gift card drawing. We'll select 3 winners from those attending in person. Each will receive a $25 Amazon gift card. First is Winnie Tam from Cotai Realty. We got a winner. Next, Bob Cho from Chongping Escrow. The last one, wow. Julie Lewis was done wrong. Please make sure to participate in our education classes. A list of upcoming classes is displayed on your screen and available on our website. 45-hour DRE license renewal. Continue education on Friday, September 22nd from 9:30 to 12:30. Cost is $85. California real estate disclosures on Monday, September 25 from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. is free. Realtor Safety Summit on Tuesday, September 26, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is free. CRMS virtual training on Wednesday, September 27th from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. It cost is free. Time for our 50-50 raffle, $46. The number is 158537. 158537. Next one, 158414. 158414. Congratulations. If you submitted an announcement form, please come up and make your announcement. You have 30 seconds. Please check your emails for WSGVR 2023 Awards nomination form. Nominate someone for the recognition they deserve. That's actors. Oh, yeah. So first is Buck Stapleton from a Musk Realty. Please check your emails for WSGVR 2023 Awards nomination form. Nominate someone for the recognition they deserve. Please join us next week, September 28th, as we welcome an affiliate panel. Their topic will be mastering Airbnb and short-term rentals, insight from industry experts. Thank you everyone for joining our meeting today. The meeting is now adjourned.